Kia ora, gents. This little review, just some questions over the last 3 days. Obviously, you have a lot more other questions in there. Please watch those videos. They're like mini screencasts done by a chap over in England. He's done a fantastic job with those, so we will start putting those up. He reviews basically everything we've taught you. If that's a helpful way of learning, then keep on using that. Also, I'll be reviewing some of the answers on here just every couple of days, just some of the key questions, more the open-ended questions that aren't so just repetitive in respect to regurgitating the information. You actually have to apply it to some of these questions that we'll quickly go through. As always, if you've got anything, do message me. I'm always here to answer your questions. If you've got any questions, I'm just going through your Google Docs every now and then, checking you're doing the work and you're doing quality work as you go through it. Again, as I go through these, I expect that you'll go back and just check your answers along the same lines. Do hold yourself to account. It's been great to see the quality going through, and I've really enjoyed ringing some parents up and saying, hey, great work. Your son's really keeping high expectations through what is a difficult time, and we do understand that. So keep pushing on. Keep your fitness up. It's really good for your mental health, emotional health, just as much as it is for your physical well-being. Many of you may be getting into summer sports, so just keep that structure, keeping 30 minutes of exercise a day. Hey, if you want to join in my Zooms, I'm still running 3 times a week. They're a great way to keep fit. It's always a bit easier if someone's telling you what to do. And again, you just do it at your own pace because all the boys have their screens off. We will hopefully be jumping in whenever we get back straight into basketball as a practical. So if you've got those opportunities to work on those skills, as we said, you all have ability. That's what you're inherited with your heights, your fitness, your muscle fibers and so on, and what you're brought up doing, but skills developed, and that's practiced again and again. So you can develop that skill by practicing. It might be just throwing a ball against the wall and catching it. Hey, you're working on that hand-eye coordination, and that's a skill that you can move between various sports. I will quickly move on to what we did on Tuesday. So question 2 on Tuesday was use 5 examples in your life of or others to explain how a factor can affect skill level. Must use examples from your own life and explain why it has affected, right? So it hasn't improved or decreased your skill level. So it can be positive or negative factor. All right, and these aren't just the only ones that we could have that we've got lined here. So we've got motivation and environment, coaching, facilities, motivation, and so on. So you had to go in. I was expecting 2 to 3 sentences on this because it was describing how motivation and now you know about intrinsic, extrinsic motivation. You could have discussed either one of those and stated why it has been such a big impact in your performance, or the other way. Hey, look, at the moment, your motivation could be lacking for various reasons, and how has it impacted on you? Your environment. So does your environment dictate what sport you can do and the skill level? So how often can you practice because of your environment? Here we're sailing, means that we can do a lot of sailing here, and because of the environment, we can consistently go out and work on our skill level. That might be that here. Environment links into facilities, because we have fantastic facilities, means that our cricket pitches or the environment that you play in is consistently good, that you can practice again and again and again. That does link down to follow on to coaches and facilities. Grammar is, and I've mentioned this to you, is we're lucky enough to have really good facilities at Grammar. Say, for instance, rugby field is one of the biggest around, and would be just behind maybe Eden Park around the quality of that field. And so we're quite lucky to have that and have a number 3 artificial turf that groundskeepers are looking after it and keeping it top notch. And then for cricket, they change their grass ready for that as well. So basketball, we've got so many hoops, so many balls to practice the skill individually as we go through it. So you have to link it how it impacts you. It might be that you have facilities at home that help you to do whatever training it is. Anxiety can be obviously a negative from that side, and that's linked in with arousal that we are going to touch on in this unit later on. Age maturity is clearly if you've had experiences in your life and you then learn from those mistakes, you have a lot more confidence that links into anxiety that you can bring through. And we see that guys who are, say, in their 3rd year of playing first 15, for instance, would have a lot more maturity and would be a leader in that group and have learned their mistakes. And we see that in top level sport. They may not be the best physically, but their maturity and the lessons they've learned and how they can run the team, manage it on the field, pays dividends more than what their, say, physical abilities might be compared to, say, a 35-year-old who has age maturity, someone a bit younger. So it all works out. Picture here on the right, just going through, later on this will come through, I've got on the wrong one, sorry, enjoyment purpose as we go through intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. So moving on. Question 2 for Wednesday. Okay? Just make sure after you read these, you can go through your work as long as it makes sense. So Wednesday, question 2, on a continuum, down one end, have closed and the open end down the other, right? As we go through each one. So open end question we've got here, just like this picture, it is somewhere where the environment is very different and is changing all the time. Closed, right? You can control the controllables basically as you go through it. So we've got an example of a javelin thrower. Here, rugby tackle, very dynamic. It's changing all the time on how they're moving. We're not sure what the opposition are doing, hence why it's a very open skill. Down here is a rough continuum of what it might look like on yours. So we're down here in the open skill. You got the drop kick. It's how the ball is going to hit the ground and come off. It's the opposing player, how close they are to you. It's the crowd. It's the wind. It's where the posts are. All these aspects are going to make it a challenge, and it's lots of variables in there that we can't control. Hence why it's down more the open end. Passing a ball, again, we're passing it depending on where the opposition is, how far we have to pass it. Is wind involved as a variable that we have to think about? Again, I don't apply a lot of context to these, hence why I say throwing a ball, I'll put in the middle. But just like passing a ball, for whatever reason, might be down here if we're throwing a ball, and these two are very much aligned. I have to give some more context, I'd have to say, for that. Penalty kick, again, rugby, it is a bit more, say, on the closed skill, because the opposition are 10 metres back, they're not moving. It's just you've got the crowd, you've got the wind, you've got the surface you're playing on that you have to contend with. From the open end, closed, opposition 10 metres back, they're not moving, not like a conversion. However, a penalty kick in football, you've got a lot of moving players who you're trying to connect with and a lot of options to go to. It's not just kicking through the field goal. In penalty and football, you have a lot of other things to go through. So depending on which one you thought about, depends on where it would be. Football, down here further. Rugby, a little bit down here, hence why it's in the middle. Tennis serve, again, where is your opponent standing? Are you playing on court, hard court, soft court, clay, grass? Again, these are things you might, if you're critical about it, you would think about, but it's more down the close end skill. It is the same skill each time. However, you can change the skill slightly if you want to slice it in other aspects. Free throw in basketball, consistent services usually. The hoops are 3 metres normal height, same position, very controllable. You just got the crowd in there and obviously the opposition saying stuff to you and so on. 50 metre, most it's the same, so it's down here. You do have the opposition of people pushing you and changing what you might do as you're swimming. Shot put, again, very closed, and javelin and archery, all very much the same. It's just your process, you're in control of it. You have the same parameters with the same circle you have to throw a shot put or javelin in. Archery, same process each time. Yes, wind comes into it. It's slightly the surface you're throwing a javelin or shot put off if it's wet, but look, you're in control of those predominantly, hence a close skill. Last one, thanks for sticking with me on this. Make sure you review these each time. Question 5 on Thursday, so yesterday, in your basketball unit. What is motivating you and why? Indicate if it's an intrinsic or extrinsic one. There's a few ideas down here you might have. Again, intrinsic, what's driving you? The internal drive to do well. I'd have to say a lot of you enjoy it. I can see as being a teacher, it's phenomenal how big basketball's come. You can see people have genuine fun with their mates, and it's a bit of a release from school, the academic side, and getting pushed. Keeping fit, that body shape, that feeling good for endorphins you get afterwards, and then that satisfaction about learning a new skill. Like, say that's doing layups in basketball, all of a sudden you couldn't do it, and you can get 2 out of 3 now with those competitions, and there's that satisfaction and that being, improving yourself each time, that pride you hold in yourself. Then we flick over the intrinsic. Hey, it's look, there's 10% credit, 10% of a grade that's awarded to you for how well you do. That's a driving factor. Hey, I want to be the best in the year. I want to walk across stage as being the best in PE, and hopefully it's someone from this class who gets there. And who wants to be the top dog in the team is another one. Bit of that publicity from being the best, and that crossover skills that you might think about that might help you for your other sport, catching, throwing, and other aspects of that. Look, guys, went through that pretty quick. I'll try to keep these up. Again, just picking questions out that are a bit more open-ended. Go back, review it, add little ideas in. Again, these are some of the questions that you may be asked in the exam. Do at this time practice areas that you're finding difficult from, say, term 1 or 2. Now's the time to sort of create mind maps. So write down anything you know about the subject, then fill it in as you go through it. And creating resources such as flashcards is also great. Pulling out bits of information that you're finding difficult to remember each day, just go over that as you go through it. So the more studying little bits you can do now, hey, look, we, by all counts, could only have you for 2 weeks next term. We don't know yet if it's extended or not, if we got to stay leave. So I think that was the case. So just making sure that you're using this time wisely, as much as it's Groundhog Day, the same thing each day. Just keep yourself ticking along, gents, and keeping that quality of your work. I've been really impressed with you. Other than that, ask me questions if need be, and just get set on today's tasks. Hopefully we'll finish off all the content by the end of possibly next week, and then possibly into task 4 if we're still not back at school in the last week. Task 4 of your basketball assignment, which is associated with some of the work you've been doing on this topic. Thank you very much, gents, for tuning in, and all the best.